महाराज की जय।
जय
जय
अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय।
जय
जय
इस्कॉन फाउंडर आचार्य श्रील प्रभुपाद की
जय
जय
जय। नाम आचार्य श्रील हरिदास ठाकुर की
जय।
प्रेम से कहो जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद की जय।
जय
श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोपा गोपीनाथ राधा कुंड श्याम कुंड गिरि गोवर्धन की
जय
जय। वृंदावन धाम की जय।
जय
मधुरा धाम की जय।
जय
मायापुर धाम की
जय
जय। जगन्नाथपुरी क्षेत्र की
जय
जय। गंगा माई की जय।
जय
तुलसी देवी यमुना माई की
जय
जय। तुलसी देवी की
जय
जय। भक्ति देवी की
जय
जय। संकीर्तन महायज्ञ की
जय
जय। बृहद मृदंगा की
जय।
जय। प्रेम गौरानंदे।
हरि
हरे
हरि बोल।
All glories to assembled devotees.
हरे
हरे
कृष्ण
कृष्णा
Hare Krishna. All glories to assembled devotees.
हरे कृष्ण
हरे कृष्णा
Hare Krishna. All glories to assembled devotees.
हरे कृष्ण
हरे
Hare
कृष्णा
Krishna. All glories to Sri Sri Guru Gauranga ki jai. नमो ओम विष्णुपादाय कृष्ण प्रस्थाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी निधि नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत् शृण्वतां स्वकरः कृष्णः पुण्यश्रवणकीर्तनः हृदयन्तस्थो ह्यभद्राणि विदुनोति सुहृत्सताम् नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवतस्य सेवया भगवती उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय।
ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय।
ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय।
ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय।
ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय।
ओम
नमो
नमो
भगवते
भगवते वासुदेवाय।
वासुदेवाय।
Let me share my screen. Sorry. Srimad Bhagavatam 1 chapter 113 sorry, canto 113 chapter 40th verse. कर्णधारा इवा परे भगवान् परादर्शकः अथा आभासे भगवान् नारदो मुनिसत्तमः। कर्णधारे इवा परे भगवान् परादर्शकः अभाषा भाषे भगवान् नारदो मुनिसत्तमः। कर्णधारा इवा परे भगवान् परादर्शकः अभावा भाष्ये भगवान् नारदो मुनिसत्तमः।
कर्णधार इवा पारे भगवान् पारदर्शक अथा भाषे भगवान् नारदो मुनिसत्तमः।
कर्णधारा इव परे भगवान् पारदर्शक अथ भाष्ये भगवान् नारदो मुनिसत्तमः। हरे कृष्ण।
हरे कृष्णा। कर्णधार इवा पारे भगवान् पारदर्शकः अथ अभासे भगवान् नारदो मुनिसत्तमः।
Hare Krishna. Karnadhara iva pari bhagavan paradarshakaha
Atab Abase Bhagavan Nardo Muni Satamaha. Hare Krishna, thank you.
Hare Krishna. Karnadara iva pare Bhagavana paradarshakaha Atha bapashe Bhagavan Narado Muni Sattamaha. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Karnadhar iva pare Bhagavan paradarshakaha Atha bhashe Bhagavan Narado Muni Sattamaha.
Anyone else wants to read?
कर्णधारा इवा पारे भगवान परदर्शकः अथा भाषे भगवान नारद मुनि सत्तमः. हरे कृष्ण.
Okay. Thank you all for reading. Prabhuji, could you scroll down? Synonyms. Karnadara, captain of the ship. Iva, like. Apare, in the extensive oceans. Bhagavan, representative of the Lord. Paradarsakaha, one who can give directions to the other side. Atha, thus. Abhavase, began to say. Bhagavan, the godly personality. Naradaha, the great sage Narada. Munisattamaha, the greatest among the devotee philosophers. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. You are like a captain of ship in a great ocean, and you can direct us to our destination. Thus addressed the godly personality, Devarishi Narada, greatest of the philosopher devotees, began to speak. Purport. There are different types of philosophers, and the greatest of all of them are those who have seen the personality of Godhead and have surrendered themselves in the transcendental loving service of the Lord. Among all such pure devotees of the Lord, Devarishi Narada is the chief, and therefore he has been described herein as the greatest of all philosopher devotees. Unless one has become a sufficiently learned philosopher by hearing the Vedanta philosophy from a bona fide spiritual master, one cannot be a learned philosopher devotee. One must be very faithful, learned, and renounced. Otherwise, one cannot be a pure devotee. A pure devotee of the Lord can give us direction towards the other end of Niscience. Devarishi Narada used to visit the palace of Maharaja Yudhishthira because the Pandavas were all pure devotees of the Lord, and Devarishi was always ready to give them good counsel whenever needed. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Gnananjanashalakaya Chakshuhu Unmilitam Mena Tasmai Sri Kurave Namaha. Sri Chaitanya Manovishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam. Vandeham Sri Guron Srita Padakamalan Sri Guron Vaishnavam Sacha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunadhanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Sri Vishaka Anvitam Sacha. Om Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namine Gaurat Vishay Namaha. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dheena Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesa Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostude Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriye. Vancha Kalpataru Vascha Krupa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Mukhaṁ karoti vācālaṁ pangum langayate girim. Krupātamaham vande Sri Gurum Dinataranam. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Thank you all for joining. First of all, I request a blessing from all the senior Vaishnavas and devotees who have assembled here, so that I can repeat the words whatever spoken by Srila Prabhupada and Good Parampara. So I completely understand that this is for my purification, and please forgive me for any faults. Please forgive me if I speak anything wrong on this verse. If I speak anything good, that is because of my Guru Maharaj and Srila Prabhupada, Vaishnavas and Krishna's mercy. Hare Krishna. Let me read the verse once again. Translation. Karnadara ivapare Bhagavan Paradarsakaha Ata Abhavase Bashe Bhagavan Narado Munisattamaha. Translation. You are like a captain of ship in a great ocean, and you can direct us to our destination. Thus addressed the godly personality Devarishi Narada, greatest of the philosopher devotees, began to speak. So we are now reading Canto 1, Chapter 13. Dhritarashtra quits home, and this is the verse 40 from that chapter. And this is very wonderful verse spoken by Yudhishthira Maharaj while addressing Narada Muni. This verse speaks about the Guru qualities, the pure devotee qualities, and how the Guru directs us to the other side of the material ocean. As we are reading, after hearing very strong and enlightened words from Vidura, Dhritarashtra left the home. So actually, without informing Yudhishthira Maharaj or anyone, and he left home along with Vidura, and his chaste wife Gandhari also followed him. So then Yudhishthira Maharaj, as soon as he woke up, he completed his normal duties, daily duties, and he could not see Yudhishthira Maharaj, and he asked Sanjaya, who is the private secretary of Yudhishthira Maharaj, about his master, and he also could not reply anything. He was also weeping, and he said that he was also cheated by those great souls. Sanjaya was saying that. So then Yudhishthira Maharaj, he started lamenting about his uncle's departure, because he was worried about his whereabouts, because he is blind, and he was thinking how he can survive, how Yudhishthira Maharaj can survive. And also he was worried whether he has made any, committed any offenses towards his uncle, Dhritarashtra. So because being a pure soul, he did not remember any of the faults or any of the misdeeds performed by Dhritarashtra towards his family. Yudhishthira Maharaj was not at all remembering that. Actually, he was kind of glorifying him, because he was kind of saying, "Oh, he protected us," because after my father died, Pandu Maharaj. So then he was saying he protected our family, and he was glorifying, because only pure devotees doesn't see any faults in others. So he was worried about Yudhishthira Maharaj, and suddenly there appeared Narada Muni. So Narada Muni, and then Yudhishthira Maharaj and his brothers, they received him properly. And Yudhishthira Maharaj asked Narada Muni about his uncle, Dhritarashtra. And Narada Muni now is going to start excellent preaching to Yudhishthira Maharaj. That is going to start from tomorrow. So very wonderful preaching And Narada Muni is going to explain what the Lord's arrangement, like how he joins people and how he separates them. And Narada Muni is going to explain everyone is under the influence of Kala, time, karma, and modes, gunas. So he's going to give that very good, wonderful knowledge to Yudhishthir Maharaj that is going to start from tomorrow. And now in this verse, this is a very important verse. So here Yudhishthir Maharaj is addressing Narada Muni with various qualities. So first, now Yudhishthir Maharaj is addressing Narada Muni here as Bhagavan. So Srila Prabhupada translated it as the godly personality. So he is the representative of the Lord Narada Muni. And he started this verse, Yudhishthir Maharaj, Karnadara, so captain of the ship. So he was saying, captain of the Karnadara Ivapare. In these extensive oceans, Bhagavan, the representative of the Lord Paradarsaka, one who can give directions to the other side. He is saying, Yudhishthir Maharaj, you are like a captain of a ship in a great ocean, and you can direct us to our destination. So here the word Karnadara is very important word here. So captain of the ship. So actually in 11th canto, Krishna uses the same word when he was preaching Uddhava. He says, Krishna uses this word Karnadara. Let me read that sloka quickly. Let me share that screen. This is a verse. Krishna speaks to Uddhava. Deham ajam sulabam sudurlabam lavam sukalpam karnadharam maya anukulena na abhasvate itam puman bhavabdhim na taretsa atmaha. So it's a very wonderful verse. It explains about the Guru Tattva. Here Krishna uses the word Karnadharam. So Krishna says there, this human form of life, this human body, Hrideham, this human body, Adhyam, the source of all favorable results, which can give all benefits to us. And Sulabam means effortlessly obtained. It is automatically obtained by the laws of nature in the evolutionary process. Sudurlabam. So it is very rare to obtain. This human body is very rare to obtain. And Plavam Sukalpam Guru Karnadaram. So this human body is like a boat. Plavam means is a boat. And Sukalpam, so which is well suited for its purpose, right? And Guru Karnadaram. So the spiritual master Guru is Karnadaram, captain of the ship. Maya Anukulena na Basvata Ritam. So the instructions of the Supreme Personality of Godhead are the as favorable winds. They are the favorable winds which will help us to fly smoothly on this boat. So actually this I'll just re-explain. So this body is, Krishna says, this body is like a boat, and Guru is the captain of the ship, and instructions of the Lord, the Shastras, they are the favorable winds to fly smoothly on this boat. And this samsara, bhavasagara, so this is our material ocean. Like this material world is like a material ocean. So to cross this material ocean, to go back to home, back to Godhead, to go to the other side of this material ocean, we have to use this body as a boat, and we have to accept a spiritual master who is the captain of the ship. And so while sailing on this boat, so we need favorable winds. So the sastric instructions, the instructions given by Krishna, like Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, Upanishads, all these are like a favorable winds to cross this material ocean. And considering all this, Puman Bhavabdim Nataritsa Atmaha. Considering all these advantages, a human being who does not utilize his human life to cross this ocean of material existence, Bhavabdim. Bhava means this material existence, Abdim, the ocean. A human being who does not utilize this human life to cross this ocean of material existence must be considered the killer of his own soul. Atmaha. He is considered as the killer of his own soul. So, because Krishna is giving all these facilities, he's giving this body, and he's sending the spiritual master, and he's giving all these instructions, shastras, and even by getting all these advantages, if a human being who does not utilize this human life to cross this ocean of material existence, he must be considered as the killer of soul. So, Atmaha, he is committing suicide kind of thing. So that is why Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Tatvidhi pranipatena pariprasnena sevaya upadekshanti te gnana gnanina tattva darshinaha. So one must surrender to Guru, pure devotee of the Lord, to cross the ocean of this material existence. And even Isavash Upanishad third mantra, it says, a human being who does not fully utilize his life for self-realization, he is considered as Atmaha, a killer of the soul. So that is why this verse is very, very important. It talks about the Guru Tattva, how we have to accept the Guru, and we have to surrender to the Guru, and the Guru can save us from this cycle of birth and death. So coming to purport, here in purport, Srila Prabhupada says, there are different types of philosophers, and the greatest of all of them are those who have seen the personality of Godhead and have surrendered themselves in the transcendental loving service of the Lord. So there are different types of philosophers. We know Tattvavid, Vadanti Tattvavidas Tattvam Adhnanam Adbhayam Brahmeti Paramatmeti Bhagavaniti Sabdhayate. So the learned transcendentalists who knows the absolute truth call this non-dual substance Brahman, Paramatma, or Bhagavan. So actually the Bhagavan, the personality of Godhead, is the last word of the absolute truth. And different philosophers, Srila Prabhupada says here, there are different philosophers. So there are some philosophers, they only concentrate on Brahman effulgence, and there are philosophers they stop with Paramatma realization, and the highest level of philosopher is who concentrates on the who stops at the, I mean, that is the last word of the this absolute truth, Bhagavan, who concentrates on the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who surrenders to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So Brahmeti Paramatmeti Bhagavaniti Sabdaye. So Brahman effulgence is nothing but actually the rays of the Lord, just as the sun rays of the sun disk. So the Brahman effulgence is the rays of the Lord, and the Paramatma, it's like a sun disk is compared with the super soul. So we get the sunshine, the sunrise. Sunrays are like a Brahman effulgence, like Krishna's effulgence. And if you go further, if you go to the sun globe, so if you go further, you see the sun disk. So the sun globe is compared to the super soul. And if you go inside the sun planet, we'll see the sun god. The sun god is compared with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So that is why the Brahman realization is the partial realization of the Supreme Lord, that Brahman effulgence realization. And the Paramatma realization is also the not complete realization. That is also the partial representation of the personality of Godhead, partial realization of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And the Bhagavan is the last word of this absolute truth. That is the complete realization of the Supreme Lord. So actually the pure devotees, they surrender to the Bhagavan. They have the realization of Supreme Personality of Godhead. Here, Srila Prabhupada says, so the greatest of all of them who have seen the personality of Godhead and have surrendered themselves to the personality of Godhead in the transcendental loving service of the Lord. They are the pure devotees. So they just don't stop with Brahman effulgence or Paramatma. They have the complete realization of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and they completely surrender to Krishna. So actually the persons who reach up to this Brahma Jyoti, they are called Jnanis. That is not the complete knowledge. And then the second level is the yogis. They reach up to this Paramatma and localized aspect of Supreme Bhagavan, Supreme Personality of Godhead, Paramatma. And they are better than the Jnanis, but that is also not complete. And then when one comes to the platform to the understanding of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, that is the complete realization. That is called bhakti. So bhaktas, they have the realization of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So therefore, Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, 6th chapter, Yoginam api sarvesa madhyater antaratmana Shraddhavan bhajate yomam samya yuktatamo mataha. So one who always thinks about me is the first class yogi. That is what Krishna says. So one who has this complete realization of Supreme Personality of Godhead and surrendered to the Supreme Personality of Godhead in the transcendental loving service of the Lord, he is the first class yogi. And Srila Prabhupada here says, so among all such pure devotees of the Lord, Devarishi Narada is the chief, and therefore he has been described herein as the greatest of all philosopher devotees. So Narada is the chief of all these pure devotees, philosopher devotees. So because he has realized the Bhagavan aspect, he has the complete understanding of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and he is engaged in the transcendental loving service of the Lord. He can move throughout all the worlds, material and spiritual world now, and he actually broadcasts the glories of the Lord throughout the world, throughout the material and spiritual worlds. So that is the actually business of the pure devotee. So who broadcast the glories of the Lord throughout the world and to save the fallen and conditioned souls from this material ocean, this material existence. So here in this verse, if you go to the verse, Yudhishthira Maharaj uses the word Paradarshakaha. So one who can give directions to the other side. So this is the wonderful quality of a guru. So guru is, it's not like a fashion. So we accept someone and we say, oh, I have a guru, or like that. Just for the namesake, we accept someone as a guru and we just say, oh, we have a guru or something. These things are going on nowadays. But that is the quality of the guru is who must save his disciple from cycle of birth and death. So if he cannot save his disciple from the cycle of birth and death, he cannot be a guru. Actually, as we already discussed, as Krishna already said, guru is the captain of ship, and who can take us to the spiritual world, who can take us back to home, back to Godhead. Actually, nowadays, as Krishna said, that this body is the boat, Plavam, and Guru is the captain of the ship, and instructions from the Krishna are the favorable winds. So nowadays, what's happening is people are completely misled, and they are engaged. Instead of using this machine body to cross this material existence, they are just studying this machine, this body. That's all. And even after studying so many years, they can't be perfect sometimes. Srila Prabhupada says, even if you study this machine, this body, we can't understand this fully. because if you ask someone like scientist who is studying this machine, how many hairs you have got in your body, so we can't say. So even we can't understand this machine fully. Maybe theoretically people say, oh, this and that, but they can't understand this body, this machine also fully. So that is why the buddhiman intelligent person uses this machine uh, to go to the destination. So it's okay to study to some extent, but the important thing is we have to use this machine, this body, to cross over this material existence to go to the other destination. Um, Otherwise, it is of no use. So we all know. So we got this human body after many lives, right? Prahlad Maharaj says in Bhagavatam, Manushim Durlabham Janma. So this human form of life is very rare to attain. Very rare to attain. And even in 11th canto, Narada Muni says to Krishna's father Vasudeva, so this human form of life is very rare to get, and it can be lost at any moment. Kshanabhanguraha. So this human form of life is very rare to get, and we can lose this body at any moment. So we are not sure how many days we are going to live. So, and because the Bhagavan is approaching in the form of Kala to take all us back. I mean, Mrityu Sarva Arachaham. So Krishna says, I am the death. So in the form of death, I will take all the people away, right? So we don't know how long we are going to live. So that is why we must be using this body for the devotional service. We should accept Guru as the captain of the ship, and accept the Supreme Lord's instructions as a favorable winds. And to cross this material ocean, we must use this body. But we should not misuse this valuable human form of life, because we have got this after many lives, and so we have gone through so much evolutionary process to get this human form of life. So and Guru means now Paradarshakaha. Guru is the Tattvadarshi, who has seen the truth. Tadvidhi pranipatena pariprasnena sevya upadekshante te gnanam gnanina tattvadarshinaha. This Guru is the Tattvadarshi who has seen the truth, who has the realized knowledge. That is the qualification of Guru. So what is the Tattva? Tattva we just discussed. Vadanti tat tattva vidas. Tattvam adhnanam advayam brahmeti paramatmeti bhagavaniti sabdayate. So that Tattva is this Bhagavan, knowledge of Bhagavan. So he understands what is Brahman effulgence, what is the localized accept of Bhagavan, and who completely understands the Bhagavan aspect of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So I mean, that is the Bhagavan is the last Bhagavan aspect of the absolute truth. That is the last word in the realization of the absolute truth. So the Guru knows this Tattva, and who has this realized knowledge, and who can help us to cross this material ocean using our body, this boat. And here, coming to purport, Srila Prabhupada says, unless one has become a sufficiently learned philosopher by hearing the Vedanta philosophy from a bona fide spiritual master, one cannot be a learned philosopher devotee. One must be very faithful, learned, and renounced. Otherwise, one cannot be a pure devotee. A pure devotee of the Lord can give us direction towards the other end of nescience. So, unless one has become a sufficiently learned philosopher by hearing Vedanta philosophy from a bona fide spiritual master, one cannot be a learned philosopher devotee. So one cannot be a guru unless he hears it from the bona fide spiritual master. Once, so we all know about Narada Muni's life, right? How in his previous life, how he gained his knowledge. So yeah, he gained this knowledge by serving the pure devotees of the Lord. In his previous life, we went through that story. He was a son of maid servant, and when devotees, they were living together during the rainy season, Chaturmasya, his mother was serving the devotees, Vedantis, and he was also engaged in their personal service. And one day he requested them to eat their remnants. So by honoring their remnants, and also by hearing Krishna Katha and the glories of Krishna, and by having their wonderful association, he gradually developed the taste for Krishna. And so we all know in his next life, he became the pure devotee of the Lord. So that is the effect of the pure devotees. So with their association, with their lavamatra, like even a moment of association with the pure devotee can change the life. So this guru, so that because these Vedantis, right, these pure devotees, they are in the Guru Parampara, they are in the Guru disciplic succession, and they can save us from this cycle of birth and death. That is why all Vedas, everywhere it is said that tad vijnanadam sa gurum eva abhigacchati. So even Mandukya Upanishad says, so in order to learn everything, vijnanam, not just gnanam. Gnanam is theoretical knowledge. Vijnanam means realized knowledge. So in order to learn that realized knowledge, one must have to take the shelter of the bona fide guru. So then one can become a learned philosopher devotee. So this and also Bhagavatam says tasmat gurum prapajyante jignasa uttamam. So anyone who has become very much inquisitive to learn about the transcendental subject matter, so he must accept a guru. Ado guru ashrayam. So if you want to release from all the disturbance of this material world, the first and foremost thing is to approach the guru. Adav guru ashrayam. Take the shelter of the guru, and then sadharma prichat. So the next stage is inquiring from the spiritual master about the spiritual life. So this is the process, because we can't understand tattva on our own. So we have to approach the guru. And here, so we all get the doubt, right? Who is the guru? Because there are many gurus, there are many people, they claim that they are guru. And so we have to approach such a guru. So who is a Vaishnava? So if one is not a Vaishnava, he is not a guru. So we don't want to accept an ordinary person as a guru. So Srila Prabhupada says, a Vaishnava cannot be a guru. So therefore, anyone who is not Vaishnava, we should not approach them. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has also said, Mayavadi Bhashya Sunila Haya Sarvanas. So if we hear from Mayavadi, the impersonalist, then our spiritual progress is finished. So we can't progress. So because they are the Mayavadi, Haya Krishna Aparadi. So the Mayavadis, they are offenders to Krishna. Because they don't accept the form of the Krishna. They say Krishna is formless, headless, legless, something like that. So they don't accept the form of the Krishna. So that is because that is why they are the greatest offenders of the Krishna. Sometimes this Buddhists, they say Sunyavadi. So they say the Lord is zero. They directly accept the Lord is zero. But Mayavadis, they don't say that the Lord is zero, but they say that Krishna has no form. So So that's why they are the greatest offenders to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So that is why we have to be very careful while choosing the Guru. So Guru must be a Vaishnava, and he must be in the bona fide disciplic succession. So we have 4 bona fide Vaishnava Sampradayas. Madhva Sampradaya, Ramanuja Sampradaya, Sri Vaishnava Sampradaya, and Kumar Sampradaya, and Ruddha Sampradaya. So there are 4 bona fide Vaishnava Sampradayas. So, and one should accept Guru from these 4 bona fide one of these 4 bona fide Sampradayas. And actually, only after accepting the Guru, our actual spiritual journey starts. So, of course, before that, we have to have faith. Adav Shraddha, Tato Sadhu Sangha, then Bhajana Kriya. First, we have to have the faith, and then we start associating with the devotees, Sadhu Sangha, and then Bhajana Kriya. Then we start chanting. And actually, then next stage is Anardha Nivrutti. So eliminating the unwanted things. So that starts with only after accepting the Guru. Our actual spiritual life starts with accepting the bona fide spiritual master. So we know in Krishna consciousness, the Guru, he gives the Harinama Diksha to chant Hare Krishna mantra, and we in front of fire, we accept the Guru Parampara, and we take many promises, saying that I would chant 16 rounds every day, I would follow the 4 regulative principles, and I would help the Guru in the preaching movement of the Srila Prabhupada. So the actual spiritual life begins with this Harinama Diksha. So that is that starts with this. By taking that, means we are very serious in our spiritual life, and with this we start chanting 16 rounds, and so we slowly gradually with the help of Guru we progress in our life. So that is why we have to be very careful. We should never accept a Mayavadi as a Guru, as we were already discussing, because they are the greatest offenders of the Krishna. So they say Krishna has no form. But Srila Prabhupada says, I wanted to add one thing here. So Krishna is a person. Actually, the whole Vedic literature says Krishna is a person. Even we were reading Isopanishad in Sunday class, Sunday discourses. In the 15th verse of the Isopanishad, it says mantra. It says Sachasa Vihita Mukham. So here the word used Mukham. This Upanishad, Isopanishad, it uses the word Mukham. So your real face is covered by your dazzling effulgence. Kindly remove that covering and exhibit yourself to your pure devotee. So the Lord has a very auspicious form. Ishvara Paramo Krishna Sachidananda Vigraha. He has very auspicious form. So he has Kalyanatamam Rupam. So the next Ishopanishad mantra says, so Lord has the very auspicious form, Kalyanatamam Rupam. So Mayavadis don't accept that. So that is why we should be very, very careful. So most of the people nowadays, they are propagating this Mayavadism in the form of a Vaishnava. They speak about, they say, oh, so Lord has no form, Nirakara. So Lord has no material form, but he has a transcendental form. That is what Srila Prabhupada says. Even so Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he asserted this teacher of the Lord, and he strongly opposed the Mayavadis, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and he gave all the Shastric references for that. So that is why we have to follow Mahajana Yena Gata Sapantaha. So we have to follow the footprints of great authorities, pure devotees of the Lord. Otherwise, if we read the Shastras on our own, we can't come to the right conclusion. If we read Bhagavad Gita on our own, we can't understand it properly. So if we read the Srila Prabhupada purports and Srila Prabhupada books, so we can understand the science of Krishna. Otherwise, it's very, very difficult to understand. So Srila Prabhupada has given this message to all of us by writing all these wonderful books and purports. So he has made it very clear, the science of Krishna. Otherwise, because the scriptures, we like, if we read one scripture and if we read another scripture, we feel like, okay, there is a contradiction. But unless we follow the Guru, we can't understand this, because definitely there are contradictions here and there in the Shastras, but only the Gurus, they can clarify all this, and then only we can get the right knowledge. So that is why we have to approach the Guru to get the knowledge. And finally, so Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, right, Brahmande Brahmite Kauno Bhagyavan Iva Guru Krishna Paya Bhakti Lata Bija. So if we are serious in our life, so Krishna as a Chaitya Guru, he comes out as the spiritual master, and he gives the message to us. So there are innumerable living entities traveling throughout the different planets of the universe. So, and out of them all, who is the fortunate one? Kauna Bhagyavan Jiva. So who gets the mercy of the Guru and Krishna? So he is the most fortunate one. So only the Guru will give the seed of Bhakti Lata. He sows that seed of Bhakti in the heart of the disciple. So he sows that Bhakti Lata seed, and so this Bhakti is compared with the Lata. It's just like a creeper. So the creeper actually does not stand alone. So it embraces another tree and then it grows. So similarly, Bhakti Lata, this Lata, Bhakti Lata, it embraces the lotus feet of Krishna and then it grows. That is called, it is Bhakti Lata. So one who is very fortunate will get this Bhakti Lata. And how we grow this Bhakti Lata? Anyone wants to add? How we grow this Bhakti Lata? Pantaj, you are unmute. Yeah, we grow this Bhakti Lata with watering, chanting and hearing every day. We should never stop that. So chanting and Sravana Kirtana every day. With that watering, we can grow this Bhakti Lata Bhakti Lata every day. And then this Bhakti Lata will grow and grow and grow, and it penetrates the walls of the universe. And then it goes to the Brahman effulgence. It penetrates into the Brahman effulgence. Then finally it goes to the highest kingdom, highest planet in the spiritual world, Lord of Vrindavan. And finally it takes shelter at the lotus feet of Krishna, this Bhakti Lata breeze. Even then, we should not stop watering this Bhakti Lata. So we should always chant and hear, chant and hearing, chanting and hearing. So that should keep on going on. We should never give up this chanting and hearing. Then it fructifies it and it produces the fruit, final fruit. What is that? Anyone wants to add?
Love of God.
Yeah,
love of Godhead. Yeah, it produces the final fruit, Krishna Prema. So still we go on, keep on chanting and hearing and chanting and hearing, and then so that at that time, when one devotee achieves this love of Godhead, the Prema stage, and the pure devotee, they cannot live without a Krishna even a moment, and like a fish out of the water. So he always wants to have a contact with Krishna and remember Krishna. So that is the ultimate goal of this devotional service. So with the help of Guru, we achieve this ultimate goal, the pure love of Godhead. And finally we can finally we can go back to Godhead. So with this, I will conclude this sloka. So the greatest takeaway from this sloka is to use this body as a boat to cross this material ocean, this samsara sagara, and accept Vaishnava Guru as the captain of the ship, and follow him with full surrender, and use Krishna instructions or favorable bridges to fly this boat smoothly. So, and finally go back to home, back to Godhead. So thank you all. Thank you for giving me this opportunity. Hare Krishna, and chant and be happy. And please correct me if I spoke anything wrong. Yeah, please let me know for any corrections, comments, reflections, or questions. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji, for wonderful session today. So it's really wonderful. So, if anybody is having any comment, question, so you can unmute and you can go ahead and ask the question if you have. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. So here we see that Narad Muni is coming to the palace of the Pandavas, and Prabhupada comments that he would often visit because they were pure devotees. But then during the Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Leela, Maharaj Prataparudra was there. He was a devotee, but Lord Chaitanya avoided him very assiduously. So there's a contrast there. Could you explain about that?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Dandavat pranams. Yeah, my understanding here, Prabhuji, like, so Pandavas, they are already the pure devotees of the Lord. So they are in the, they are performing the Leela here. And they are already in the contact with Krishna, and they're always remembering Krishna, even if there are like difficulties in their life, they never lamented. They never lamented. They always accepted it as the Krishna's mercy. So they always accepted them as Krishna's mercy. They always accepted them as Krishna's plan. They never lamented. And yeah, Narada Muni so used to visit Pandavas most of the times, and he was always ready to give them good counsel whenever needed. And in case of that Rudra Pratap Maharaj, he was that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Chaitanya Charitamrita, we understand that he is a king. He is already having some kind of material connection because even though he's a king, he's not kind of a very pure devotee there. That is what my understanding is. And he was having like material life, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wanted to avoid connection with the material people who are the materialistic people. So that is why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu like kind of said no to meet him, but later the devotees requested, and then with the request of devotees, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu met him and gave his mercy. So maybe that's what my understanding, Prabhuji. So he is still in connection with the material life, and he is still having wives and those things. He is having kingdom, and kind of, I think he must be having that kind of material enjoyment mentality at that time. That might be the reason Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said no to meet him. Please correct me.
What do other devotees say on that? If they have any other input?
I want to comment on that, Prabhuji, if you can allow.
You're asking me? Of course. Yeah.
Yeah, Prabhuji, as you have taught us in the Chaitanya Charitamrita class, so what I have understood is what Prabhu told Sesapati Prabhu, that's absolutely correct. Like the Prataparudra was having being king, he was possessed all the opulence, kind of all the opulence in the sense Aswarya, and he was in the Aswarya Bhav. So he materially entangled and he having more connection with the materially rather than a spiritual connection in the devotional services. So he was not having that, and he was intended to, but he was not a devotee, pure devotee. And as Sesapati Prabhu told, like Pandavas, they are pure devotee and they are performing the Leela. That's what the difference. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu for Rudra, he did not, first meet him, and based upon the request of devotee, only he met. Hare Krishna. Still, if you can have Prabhuji, so you can comment, you are, so you can put light on that. That will be good. Hare Krishna.
Well, it's certainly an interesting question. I don't know. I've never heard Srila Prabhupada or any other devotee say that Prataparudra Maharaj wasn't a pure devotee. There's a song by Narottam Das Thakur that says, all the associates of Lord Chaitanya are Nitya Siddhas. So, of course, that may be, but the only difference I see is that Lord Chaitanya, in his position as a sannyasi, he was showing that the importance of the renunciation as a sannyasi. And my understanding is Narad Muni is really although he's of course the supreme devotee, but he's not a sannyasi. He's a brahmachari. There's a little difference there. So he's more free in his going back and forth. I mean, you can say that the Prataparudra Maharaj, he had kingdom and wife and all, but so did the Pandavas. They had kingdom and they had the Pandavas. So anyway, that's others might have some other input on that. Lord Chaitanya was especially showing, even though he said, I'm not a Naham Vipra, not I'm not any of those things, but in his activities, he was careful to show the business of a sannyasi, which wasn't necessarily Narad Muni's effort. Kalpesh has a question. Kalpesh.
Yeah, Hare Krishna Prabhuji, please
Hare
accept.
Krishna.
Please accept my
Thank you.
please accept my humble obeisances. Thank you for this discourse. I have a question. Sometime when we think about the association, what happens is we think, okay, we have to associate with favorable things. But in the world, we see several variety types of people, and not every time is everyone in that mode. And I always feel this way, the qualities which we are looking from others, basically that quality is harboring in ourselves. So whatever the judgment we are taking on somebody, judging constantly in terms of association, thinking you are not doing right, I am doing right, expecting perfection in all activity. How do we correct it? And I came across one of the purport, Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 29, 34 number shlok. It says, similarly, that Supreme Lord has entered into each of the 8.4 million particular types of material body. Does not mean that each of this body has become Supreme Lord, because the Supreme Lord is present. However, pure devotee accepts each body as the temple of the Lord. And since devotee offers respect to such temples in full knowledge, he gives respect to every living entity in relationship with the Lord. Yeah. So understanding that, and seeing the qualities and not associating with, even though they are probably not Krishna conscious. How do we really we should be not judging, right? And we should be just accepting our humble position as a servant of a Lord, and accepting and respecting every living entity, since Lord is residing in each material bodies. So how do we, because that gives the resentment and hatred, which is not harboring outside, it is actually harboring in ourselves. That's why we are seeing that quality. So how do we really, when it comes to that with association, that's where this is a challenge, because more and more we do, we try, sometimes we become too much fanatics, and in that fanatism, we try to see always bad on others, and we think, we expect perfection from everyone, and that's I think so, that's not taking anywhere to devotee, in my view. But I always struggle in those areas, like when it comes to that. So I have to learn that, like how to deal with those things, if you can humbly explain this. Thank you very much.
Sure, Prabhuji. Yeah, I can add whatever I can. Yeah, definitely. So this fault-finding nature is there in every living entity, a conditioned living entity. So we fault-find in others. So it's a gradual process. So if we start chanting this Hare Krishna mantra, so another nivrutti stage, that is called another nivrutti, then nikshta ruchi, and then asakti, bhava, prema. So there are different stages in the devotional service. So devotional life. So yes, definitely, like when are in this another nivrutti stage, so we don't try to find in others. We see Krishna in everyone's heart. Isvara sarva bhutana hridesya tishtati Arjuna. So we think that we see everyone in relationship with Krishna. So actually, definitely, we should not judge. Only thing we have to see, there are instructions from Rupa Goswami. There is a Kanishta Adhikari, Madhyama Adhikari, and Uttama Adhikari. So at Kanishta Adhikari stage, the Kanishta Adhikari who only sees Lord in the temple, and but he he just started his devotional service. And Madhyamadikar, who takes Harinama Diksha, and he's very serious about his devotional service, and who tries to avoid the envious people, and who wants to associate with the devotees. And Uttama Adhikari stage, he sees everything in relationship with the Lord. He doesn't see any difference between any living entity. So even while we preach, actually, Srila Prabhupada says, right, for the sake of preaching, we have to come to the Madhyamadhikari stage and preach, because we have to see that kind of like they don't, poor devotees, they, even though they don't see any difference in the like living entities, but they come to the Madhyamadhikari stage and they preach. Yes, when it comes to your question, we should try to avoid that, because for me, I know there is like how to avoid that, because I heard during my childhood, in Ramayana, Lord Ramachandra has a very good qualities. Krishna has incarnated as a human being, right, in his avatara. I mean, that avatar, like he wanted to show how a human should lead his life. In that Rama story, so there is a verse like Lord Ramachandra, he doesn't see any faults in others. For example, if you do one good thing to me, and if you do 100 bad things to me, Lord Ramachandra used to remember only that one good thing. He doesn't remember any other bad things. So doesn't Nasmaret, he says Nasmaret. So Lord Ramachandra doesn't remember any other bad things. So we should try to inculcate that, because with the chanting and with the Guru Parampara's mercy and Krishna's mercy, we slowly develop, because now you are conscious about it. That means that is kind of like another nivritti stage. So we all go through that. So we should try to only I mean, remember good in others, and we should not remember the bad in others, and we should never judge them, because even though they are in this material ocean and they are suffering, and we'll have to feel compassion, and we should try to give the Krishna consciousness as much as we can, even without knowing them, like by distributing prasadam and by asking them to read some slokas, and by like inviting them to your home for the Kartika Damodara month Arati and something like that. Whatever you can do, please do it. But yeah, and don't try to associate with them, but you please try to give your association. If you try to take this association, it would definitely impact you. So let them not to impact you, but try to give your association. If you can't do that at this stage, if we cannot do that, it's better to avoid. Uh, and when we come to that stage, definitely Krishna will give that strength to see everyone in relationship with the Lord and see Krishna in everyone's.
So, Prabhuji, Anartha Nivrutti is basically Avidya, Ashmita, and Rag, Dvesh, and Abhinivesh. These are the 5 things.
Looks to be Sesapati Prabhu. Sound is phrased. So, are you available, Prabhu? Yeah, please go ahead.
Prabhuji, what you were able to hear something what I said? It seems like it's a bad network.
Yeah, Kalpesh Prabhu, I think let him come. Yeah. Sesa Prabhu, can you hear us? We can take one-on-one also later. So if, okay. They got disconnected.
Yeah, I think he's going to connect again.
He'll be trying to connect. Let's wait for a few seconds.
Yeah.
Well, it's time also. Devotees are leaving for their work, so we are only few members left over.
But
So
we have
I would like to answer Prabhu, Kalpesh Prabhu, like you told for 4 or 5 things, right? So anarthas are measured, measured from like lobh, moh,
Madamatsarya.
Mad Matsarya, these 6 things are there. So they are, so overall everything comes in that. So lobh, moh, Mad Matsarya, and what are the other things, Mataji, you remember? Only Mataji. One is the lobe, another lobe, moh, matsarya, mad, matsarya. Yeah, you are unmuted. You are muted with only Mataji.
Yes, Sesapati Prabhu joined, I think, Prabhu.
Yeah, I just.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhu is back. So he will answer. Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry,
Kalpesh.
I got disconnected. I joined from my mobile. Yeah. So does that make Prabhu's sense? Kalpesh Prabhu?
He has another question.
Yeah, Prabhuji, thank you for explanation. I just want little clarification, not really question. It's Anartha Nivrutti you brought up in your discussion, which is part of Bhakti Lata. I see it. So I thought in my mind that it is Avidya, Ashmita, Rag, Dvesh, and Abhinivesh. These are the 5 things. But lust, greed, envy, ego, these are also considered anartha, right? And we have to get eliminated from that, because these are all impression driven from the chitta, and this is how the vritti is created. So chitta is by chanting we can destroy that impressions, and is that understanding right? The vritti will be now Krishna conscious, because that we see that chitta develops into sanskars. I mean, it picks up the sanskars, and from sanskars comes the vasanas, and which get developed. That impression get developed and makes into the vritti, and then vritti comes into the karma, like activities, whatever we do, and then it goes back and store again in the chitta.
Yes, pretty much. Yeah, this Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says this Akshagam, Cheto Darpana Marjanam, this Cheta, heart, this Chitta. So this gets cleansed with this Harinam's Param Vijayate Sri Krishna Sankirtanam. So with this chanting of Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, so this is everything will slowly go away. All these anarthas will slowly go away. But only thing is we have to have firm faith, and we have to have firm faith on Guru Parampara, and we should never stop chanting and hearing. So that is as we were discussing to this Bhakti Lata bees, we should always water with this chanting and hearing. It should go on till the end of our life. Actually, it would even continue after the end of our life. So because once we develop the taste, because after another nivrutti, the next stage is Nishta. And we get fixed in this devotional service. We become dhrudha, and we become determined. Then we get the ruchi, that stage. We get the taste for this holy name. So when we get the taste for this holy name, we never want it to leave. So that is why until we reach those stages, we should keep on chanting and hearing. Daily it should go on. So we should water it, like we water our plants every day to grow. So we should water our Bhakti Lata bees with this chanting and hearing, and associating with devotees. Then after ruchi, and then next stage is asakti, and we develop. We get fixed more and more interest. Yeah, we get fixed more in Krishna consciousness, and then bhava, and then prema. Last stage is love of Godhead. So yes, this anartha nivrutti stage, this is very important. So we keep on chanting and hearing, and then this would gradually go away, Prabhuji. So only thing is, we should not do the 10 offenses to the holy name. So we have those 10 offenses. Yeah, we should never think that this holy name is kind of a ritualistic activity. We should never blaspheme the devotees when we are chanting. We should never blaspheme the scriptures, and also we should never commit sins on the strength of holy name. Oh, okay, I'm chanting holy name, I can commit now sins. No, that does not work. So actually, I'm chanting, no, I can eat some meat, and then because I'm chanting, Krishna will take away those sins, and that does not work. So if you are still committing sins, one day the Krishna will go away from our tongue. So Krishna knows. So so we have to follow these 4 regulatory principles strictly, but they are very easy to follow. Having Krishna Prasadam, and no meat eating, no gambling, no intoxication, no illicit sex, and also having Krishna Prasadam. So Krishna Prasadam is very, very important. Honoring Krishna Prasadam. So whatever you cook at home, you offer to Krishna and honor it. So Ahara Suddhi, Sattva Suddhi. Actually, this honoring Krishna Prasadam has a great impact on our mind. Ahara Suddhi, Sattva Suddhi. So because with this Prasadam, our Sattva gets purified. And then only we get that dhrudha, that determination in our devotional service, Prabhuji. So yeah, we have to keep on chanting and hearing. Yeah. So we have to follow 4 ABCD in the Krishna consciousness devotional service. A is always associating with devotees. B is book reading, Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita, and Chaitanya Charitamrita. And C is chanting and hearing. And D is diet. always honor Krishna Prasadam. If you
Lovely.
can do this ABCD, you were going back to home, back to God is like certified, and I mean you will surely go back to home, back to God.
This is, so you brought a very excellent point. ABCD, I can remember that way. That's nice. Because I was not thinking that way, but now this makes sense, that ABCD gave the logic for us to always kind of. So I appreciate
This is
Prabhuji
like
very much.
something. This is like something where putting money in the bank and keep on drawing it. Keep on putting, keep on drawing. Then there won't be anything there.
Exactly, that is what is actually sometimes we are. Yeah, you're right.
Thank you very much, Prabhu.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mataji. Thank you,
Krishna
Prabhuji.
Vancha Kalpatarubhyasya
All glory to Srila Prabhupada. Vancha kalpatarubhyasya kripa sindhubhyo patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you.